I'm sure you are wondering why I say you shouldn't buy the watches I'm going to mention. Well, these watches are very rare and hard to find in any Rolex AD in the world because everyone wants to get their hands on them. Now, before you bite my head off in the comments telling me that someone should just buy what they love, remember that I'm just here to warn you, not tell you what to do with your money. If you really want any of these, go for it, but you'll have to wait for a while. Let's get started. Number 1. Rolex Daytona 116500LN. Based on conversations with Rolex retailers, they tend to receive roughly the same number of watches with white dials as those with black dials, which amounts to about 5 to 10 watches per year. However, the situation becomes exceedingly challenging given that most stores maintain waiting lists with hundreds of eager customers vying for this particular model. For instance, if we consider a scenario where a store receives 10 of these watches per year, which is on the higher side compared to what most Rolex stores typically receive, and they have a waiting list of 100 people, it could mean a staggering wait time of 10 years. In simpler terms, waiting for a decade may seem absurd, but due to Rolex's limited supply, the wait time accumulates swiftly. This Rolex model is currently among the most coveted timepieces, and it's often reserved for their most loyal customers with a lengthy purchase history. However, it's worth noting that the allocation process varies significantly from one store to another. Number 2. Rolex Oyster Perpetual 36 and 41 Tiffany dial. In 2020, Rolex introduced 2 watch models, the Oyster Perpetual 36 and 41, which quickly became extremely popular due to their vibrant dial colors, including shades like yellow, green, and pink. However, the standout favorite was the turquoise dial, affectionately known as the Tiffany, because of its similarity to Tiffany & Co.'s iconic blue hue. Our conversations with Rolex official retailers revealed that they receive fewer units of these watches compared to the highly sought-after Rolex Submariner, which is arguably Rolex's most popular timepiece. This scarcity applies to the Oyster Perpetual 41 in general, and the turquoise dial version is even rarer. Retailers mentioned receiving only a handful of these turquoise dial watches each year, resulting in extensive waiting lists at Rolex stores worldwide. In fact, one Rolex-authorized dealer reported a staggering 2-year wait list for the Oyster Perpetual 41 in any color, and this is assuming they strictly follow the list, which isn't always the case at most Rolex retailers. As a result of overwhelming demand, the availability of the Tiffany dial models, specifically the 12600 and 124300, has become extremely limited. Many stores have actually stopped accepting names for their waiting lists because the demand has become simply too overwhelming. Number 3. The Rolex Submariner in steel. The Rolex Submariner is likely the most sought-after stainless steel professional watch in Rolex's entire collection. This includes models like the 124060, 126610LN, and 126610LV, with the last one being the hardest to come by. The Rolex Submariner is also probably Rolex's most iconic watch, and it's the one that comes to mind for many when they think of Rolex. It's easy to understand why the Submariner is so incredibly popular, thanks to its timeless and versatile design that works just as well for everyday wear as it does with formal attire. While Rolex stores do receive a decent number of Submariner steel models, typically around 10 to 30 pieces in total, the demand for this watch is exceptionally high. As a result, there are often long waiting lists and challenges in getting one from Rolex retailers. Number 4. Rolex Daytona 116506 Platinum. Based on our conversations with Rolex sellers, Rolex plans to further reduce the production of the platinum Rolex Daytona 116506 model, making it even scarcer. Unlike many other Rolex models, stores need to make specific requests to obtain this watch. The reason it's so hard to obtain is evident when we consider that most Rolex retailers typically receive only 1-2 of these watches per year. To put it simply, just 3 interested buyers can create a 1-year waiting list, and adding a few more individuals extends that wait to 2 years. This model has an exceptionally limited production, making it exceedingly challenging to purchase from Rolex retailers over the past couple of years. Number 5. Rolex Daytona 116508 Green Dial. Getting your hands on the Rolex Daytona 116508 with a green dial can be even harder than snagging the Daytona 116500LN in steel in many areas. Surprisingly, it's not just because the demand for it is super high, although it definitely is. The real challenge stems from Rolex's incredibly limited production. Typically, Rolex dealers only get a handful of these watches each year, with most receiving just 3 pieces. As you can guess, this makes it incredibly tough to acquire one. Number 6. Rolex Sky-Dweller 326934. The Rolex Sky-Dweller 326934 stands out as the most elusive Rolex model to obtain, especially in its blue dial variant. This watch is particularly hard to come by due in part to the intricate nature of its movement production. The Sky-Dweller boasts one of Rolex's most intricate movements, which puts constraints on their manufacturing capacity. Additionally, as is often the case with watches, the blue dial version is the most eye-catching and highly coveted. Number 7. Rolex GMT-Master II 126719 BLRO meteorite dial and blue dial. The Rolex GMT-Master II in white gold with a meteorite dial is extremely hard to find, and the blue dial version is also quite challenging to come by. The reason behind the scarcity of the GMT-Master II in white gold is mainly its limited production and the small number allocated to Rolex authorized dealers, ADs. In fact, the Rolex retailers we've talked to typically receive only 3 of these watches per year. However, this number can vary depending on the factors we've discussed earlier. As a result, even a modest level of interest from potential buyers can quickly lead to long waiting lists. I hope that was helpful. If you enjoyed this video, you might also like this one about the mistakes to avoid when talking Rolex ADs. Also, don't forget to subscribe.